New York is a pretty shitty place to live in, with your average income earner living in a place like this, and hospitals taking your money like it's a fucking casino, crackheads littering the streets, and everyone in the city hellbent on having you dead. This is Liberty City, a great depiction of American living, with constant crime happening in every corner, and the driving abilities as if you can't see past the steering wheel. You're Niko Bellic, an Eastern European fresh off the boat to Liberty City, companioned by some drunk guy claiming to be your cousin. But before you get the true Liberty City experience, you'll have to get past the most difficult part of this game, the Rockstar loading screen. Showing its absolute effectiveness, there might actually be some competition for Ubisoft. The story starts exactly how you would expect it to. You're extremely poor, with your only viable ways to make money being stealing a vehicle and running over the nearest civilian. Though if you don't plan on being on the most wanted list, you could also consider getting a job. Though the only way a man such as yourself can make any money in this economy is through being a taxi driver. The pay is low and the customers are a little odd, but at least Niko does it with a smile on his face. You may have to engage in some gunfights, though despite the pay being horrible, having your customers dying on the job would not be ideal for business. As I should have mentioned, every civilian in the streets is either loaded with a semi-automatic rifle or a rocket launcher, so meeting up with your favorite true blue entrepreneur would definitely help, selling things ranging from baseball bats all the way to military ARs. Also, having crack fiends roam the city at every direction, the worst part is some of them are actually very nice. And with most Americans in this game being so abnormally large that it not only causes them to lose most chase sequences, that it actually counts as body armor, letting them eat constant 9mm rounds. Though if you're up for a more tactical approach, you could also prepare yourself with 10 ounces of meth and run out swinging. The NPCs being top notch in their creation, showing that they absolutely give a fuck about their surroundings. The police of this city also seem to be very realistic by the fact that anything you do near them sets them off and has you in a police chase with a 5-star wanted level. And even if they were the ones to intentionally run you over, the last thing they're gonna do is apologize. Thankfully though, their aim is complete garbage because most of their target practice was spent on law-abiding citizens. And of course having fellow tax evaders on our side the whole way through, who also think it's their moral obligation to call you every 5 fucking minutes. Although most of the reason you stay around these people is because they can actually help you. Roman, for instance, lets you have free cab rides on command, with his drivers giving us a quick confidence boost.
I'm not getting paid to lug your ugly ass around, and I'm not happy about it, okay, my friend? I must get one of those tree-shaped air fresheners if I'm going to be ferrying around dirt bags like you.
You'll come across more people in your time around the city, showing you what true blue America actually means.
You know what I'm saying?
Not really.
You can also hang out with all of them, and get fucked up while doing so. However, if you're too introverted to do any of these tasks, you can always go back home and admire the artwork of poverty. The more connections you find around the city, the more you'll be sent around doing jobs for people, interrogating and assassinating anyone in your way. Eventually, the IRS catches up to you and puts you through 5 stages of grief, giving you more debt to pay off than you originally began with. With your connections, you can do various business opportunities such as robbing banks and maybe even joining the police force. Thankfully, your friends can help you with certain jobs. For instance, little Jacob lets you deliver packages across the city while giving you well-said poetic wisdom.
Bad man know them a long time, but I think them faced it. And if this goes wrong,
if either of those things seem too hard for you, you can always explore the amazing side of the internet, where you can talk to people and apply for a job. The only requirements you need is an $1,000 suit and a resume that is absolute bullshit, and experience the joy of your first job interview. To then realize running in guns blazing through a nursery home is more of my style, and choose to instead work as America's healthcare system. I'd say I fit the job well. To top off the 10 out of 10 gameplay, I will also add the stealth missions that force you to follow someone for 10 minutes while they walk as if they're carrying 20 kg weights on their legs. Also giving us some chase sequences where the enemy just randomly decides to turn fucking invincible, turning your 9mm bullets into fucking water balloons. And yes, despite every mission having the exact same outcome as the last, having you either rob someone or beating the shit out of someone, there's multiple ways you can play each mission. Some missions you can completely avoid the gunfight entirely by sneaking past the enemies. Let's also hope you don't make it to the helicopter missions, because it genuinely makes you feel like your life is on the line. Because for some reason, driving around in the city was as if someone smeared weapons grade lubricant all over the streets, turning your light stroll around the city into a life or death situation. And considering 99% of this game is combat, you best believe the fighting sequences are absolutely amazing, with the NPCs in the city randomly turning into well-trained kickboxers, in comparison to GTA 5, where 2 people fighting looks like 2 70-year-old Alzheimer patients fighting for the last last cup of jello. And the gunfights being absolutely amazing and definitely a nice change of pace to being bombarded by a flying motorcycle. Also remember to dress well for your jobs, because showing up in anything like a tracksuit will not let you complete the job at all. And even if you didn't want to get dressed for the occasion and just wanted to mess around the entire time, you're now in debt to the Russian mafia. You can of course do other jobs around the city, maybe working as a fast food employee or playing bowling with your local civilians and picking up their remains. If you're not quite fond of jobs that require qualifications, you can always become an Amazon delivery driver, delivering packages around the city in discreet locations in hopes that police don't find you. Some of the other connections that you have can also hook you up in the waste management business, with a few underpaid and underappreciated workers while they risk their life to keep the city clean. And if all this hard work is a little bit too much for you, you can always go bowling with your friends and absolutely diminish their self-confidence and go right back at it. As well as hanging out with friends in this game, you can also call up Niko's love interest and watch as he dramatically gets friend-zoned. And if that's not enough for you, you can also consider cleaning the streets. And by that I mean get stuck in a 10-minute tailing sequence, take out a drug lord, and have Logan Paul record the evidence. In your time cleaning the streets, you'll also realize that 90% of the population in this city is filled with either crackheads, undercover police, or mob bosses. And like I've already mentioned, murdering and robbery is also one of the main concepts in this game, including a little bit of interrogation. I'm gonna have to split this into two parts because the well-acclaimed, absolutely useful Rockstar launcher decided to kick me out of my account, making it basically impossible to finish the video.